fact, we don't come to church because we just want to come to church. We come to church because we are excited to be among gospel children. And when we open our mouth to pray, we are opening our mouth to pray because we are in love with a God whose friendship we enjoy. And one of the why, as the time I was beginning the Mass, I said it is a sacrifice of praise and thanksgiving. Why is it a sacrifice of praise and thanksgiving? As you all agree with me, every day, every moment, every second, somebody is dying. But we have been given the opportunity to be alive. And not just be alive, having the ability again to come before the presence of God. We have every reason to say, God, thank you for this extension that you've given to me. For me, for instance, anytime I'm going to bed in the night, I prepare to die. And I arrange myself in a way that if I should die, there shouldn't be stress for anybody who's going to move me from my bed. And so when I open up my eyes in the morning, I just do the sign of the cross. I say, wow, wow, wow. I am seeing a new day. Thank you, Jesus. Because I'm not ready to take that for granted. Praise and thanksgiving. The Holy Eucharist is one of the profound ways to extend praise and thanksgiving to our God. Jesus, before he died, specifically in the book of John chapter 6 verse 56, he says, whoever eats my body and drinks of my blood shall have life, and whoever does not has no life. That is the Holy Eucharist. Why is it so profound for us? It is so profound for us because when Jesus was still immediately he resurrected, I was still trying to make himself visible to those he loved. Many of them were doubting. Many of them couldn't recognize him so much. Just like what happened this morning. And immediately he broke the bread and handed them the bread. Their eyes got opened. They recognized him immediately. Why? In the bread is himself. Jesus is in the bread. Jesus is the bread. In the Holy Eucharist, we consume Jesus. His very self, his soul and divinity, in the appearances of the bread and the wine. When we consume the bread, we consume the entirety of Jesus. When we consume the wine, the blood, we consume also the entirety of Jesus. Why is it so important? When we eat of Jesus, we become more like Jesus. When we eat more of Jesus, the more we resemble Jesus, that which we consume. And that is why it is not like what you could go to any other church that claims to have communion to take. Our communion is not the bread you get from any market to eat. Our communion is Jesus. And that is why when we consume of the Holy Communion, we gain to ourselves what we call the sanctifying grace of God. The grace that enables us to live holy life. The grace that enables us to have that capacity to say no to mortal sin. The grace that helps us even to deal with the venial sins in our life and prepares us to meet with our God. That is why it's so important for us. And that is why when a child receives the first Holy Communion, that becomes the first contact of that child personally with Jesus. So important. And that is also why when we want to approach Jesus in the Holy Eucharist, we don't approach him as we approach tea or bread on our tables. We approach him with reverence. We approach the throne of mercy with good disposition and acknowledgement of the fact that we are approaching the throne of grace. And that is why when somebody receives communion, it becomes a contradiction for you to handle the communion anyhow. For instance, a person can just get the communion and hold it this way and then walk to anywhere. Some could eat it and some could even put it in their pocket. That is a sacrilege. When we receive communion with reverence. And that is why some persons, instead of even standing to receive it, they kneel. It is their own sense of reverence. For some persons, instead of even breaking their hand to place it for them, they say, no, I want it on my tongue. That is their own sense of reverence. Why? They understand what they are receiving. And that is why when somebody is not in the state of grace, you are not expected to come out to receive. That is also why when you have friends and loved ones from other churches who come to celebrate with us, you should be able to say to them, you're welcome, you pray with us, you could pray even as I go out, but you're not supposed to come along with me because I want to go and see Jesus. It is not just communion, but it is Jesus you want to go and receive. And this Jesus you want to go and receive is specifically for Catholics and only Catholics who are in the state of grace. It's not for everyone. Yeah, the person may wonder, come on, what is so important, what is so special about this? I do eat it in my church. You should be able to tell the person, sorry, this is different from what you eat in your church. I am receiving Jesus here. It is not bread I want to go and eat. As Catholics, one thing I want us to understand on a day like this is the fact that Jesus for us is real. Jesus for us is always present with us. We don't call him to come. His presence is always with us in the Blessed Sacrament. In other places, when you go to some churches, they begin to pray, invoking God to come and be in their midst. We don't invoke God to come in our midst because He's always here once we are here. We don't begin to roll, we don't begin to cry, we don't begin to shout for God to come and have His dwelling in our midst. No. He's always here. We don't call on the God that performs miracles. No. He's here waiting to hear us call on Him. In which form? In the form of the Holy Eucharist. And that is why it becomes a contradiction when we have any issue in life. When we are depressed, we meet God in the Holy Eucharist. When we are troubled, we meet God in the Holy Eucharist. When we are confused, we meet God in the Holy Eucharist. When we are in pain, we meet God in the Holy Eucharist. When we are disappointed, We meet God in the Holy Eucharist. When we don't really know the way to go, we meet God in the Holy Eucharist. Why? Why in the Holy Eucharist? Because it is only in the Holy Eucharist that Jesus is present in his full self. And so we pray on a day like this that we will appreciate what we have and consciously live like what we consume, so that everyone that meets us will see Jesus in us through Christ our Lord. Amen. Please do rise.
Asking for the future. Stay with us, Lord Jesus.
May we never be separated from you.
Jesus risen in glory. Easter is a difficult time. Those whose way of the cross is not finished. Strengthen our hearts and strong hope that we will follow where you have gone before. Stay with us, Lord Jesus.
May we never be separated from you.
There is never a time when our world is completely free from war. Comfort the wars